Alex the One, getting it done, yo, Latino extraordinaire. And before we played those commercials, we were talking about Billboard and their list of the top 50 MCs of all time, or 50 greatest rappers of all time, the GOATs. So, very difficult to come up with a list like this. As I mentioned earlier on the show, people are always going to have an opinion, and not everybody is going to respect your list. If I were to create a list, for example, just today, if I do it right now and put it out there on social media, I'm going to get 100 haters saying, nope, that you're wrong. This person should have been there. That person should have been there. You know, I'm going to be crucified, so to speak, for my opinion. But it comes with the territory. You know, say you want to come up with a list. Hey, some people might agree with it. Some people might be like, yup, you spot on. That's my favorite rapper of all time. And you put it number one, I agree too. High five, right? But then you're going to have some people say, why is he number one? He should have been number this. He should have been number that. This person should have been number one. The conversation, the debate is never ending. It just goes on and goes on and goes on. So let's get into the story. And then I'm going to start off with number 50. And we're going to count down until this show ends today. So the rollout of Billboard / Vibe top 50 greatest rappers of all times continue with this week's reveal of the rappers ranked 20 to 11. So each week they're coming up with about 10 rappers, 10 people, and they're going to narrow it down all the way to number one. So the greatest of all time, aka GOAT. That's a distinguished honor when it comes to the ranking. Who or what is the ultimate best, whether you're talking films, TV, shows, restaurants, or any other subject. In early 2023, Billboard / Vibe is ranking the top 50 greatest rappers of all time as part of a salute to this year's golden anniversary of hip-hop. The genre dates back to 1973 when DJ Kool Herc first set up his two turntables to rock a Bronx party. The rollout began with the January 11th reveal of the rappers ranked 50 to 41. We've reviewed 10 more rappers each week since the final top 10 to be announced during the week of February 6th. In determining these rankings, the Billboard and Vibe editorial teams opted first to limit the rap arena to North America. So, for example, an established at his career, the British rapper Slick Rick isn't on the list. We also opted not to include the significant contributions of reggaeton, dancehall MCs on the list, just to keep our pool nominees a little bit more focused. From there, the teams took into account the following criteria. Not any particular order, but this is how, okay, pay attention, y'all. Because I was talking about this last week on my show, and I was like, I wonder how they came up with their list. Why is this person ranked that? Why is that person ranked this? And this is exactly how they broke it down. So number one, in no particular order, body of work. And then achievements, charted singles, albums, gold, platinum certifications. Cultural impact, influence, how the artist's work fostered the genre's evolution, longevity, years on the mic, lyrics, storytelling skills, and flow. So that's how they came up with their list of top 50. They had to have all those things. I'm sure there was a big debate, big discussion, and they came up with this list. So, as is well-known, GOATs and similar best-of lists always draw their share of criticism and praise from industry pundits and public alike. So it took a lot of deliberation and deep discussion to reason our way to what we believe is a well-thought-out, authentic list of reflects hip-hop's foundational pioneers, evolutionary trailblazers, and contemporary mainstays. In addition, that mix also encompasses 50 years of cultural milestones for a genre initially dismissed as a passing fad and now recognized as the industry market share leader. So think about that for a second. 50 years hip-hop. How many artists, how many MCs, whether they made it to the big stage or whether they stood underground, are out there? There's so many. And, you know, this is why I tip my hat off to them, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to them because they sat down and they came up with the list. And I'm sure, again, there was a big debate about what this person should be here, this person should be there. And like they said, there's always a bunch of critics. And I'm one of those critics today. So I'm going to start off with number 50. I'm going to read his story. What do I think? And then we're going to break it down to the other lower rankings. So number 50 is Rick Ross. That's right, the boss, Rick Ross. Number 50. Rose's hustling dream turned into gold when he rattled the cages of rap's mainstream with his 2006 summer anthem and pledged his allegiance to Def Jam and its ex-president Jay-Z. Ross demanded attention through his deep, gruff, and guttered ad-libs, colorful street tales, an inside look at Miami's lavish lifestyle, plus his incredible ear for production, more appetizing than a lemon pepper Wingstop order. His catalog reigns supreme, especially in the late 2000s and 2010s, as he doled out gems such as Trilla, Deeper Than Rap, and God Forgives, I Don't. Ross had notched 58 Billboard Hot 100 entries spanning 3 decades, but his legacy doesn't end there. His Maybach Music Group laid a tarmac for Meek Mill and Wale to take off and become titans in the 2010s. So, do I think that's a fair ranking? Number 50 for Rick Ross. I will admit I am a fan of his music. They're spot on when he talks about his incredible ear for production. His production behind him has always been second to none. I really, really respect the way he chooses his beats, the way he raps about what he raps about. And I remember when that song Hustling came out. That track was huge. It was humongous. Every car, no matter where you were from, was bumping that track right there. And there was like a genre, an era of rappers, like the new school at that time was coming in. And they were talking a little bit different. So, like, I know rappers in the past, they talked about maybe, selling some drugs here and there. But when Rick Ross came out, him and another MC or rapper came on the stage. They were talking about pushing kilos. I mean, big time drug dealers. And they just happened to be rappers, right? And they talked about that lavish lifestyle in Miami, that cocaine cowboys type of thing. I don't know. Number 50 for Rick Ross, I will give it to him. Do I think he should be higher on the list? Possibly. I think possibly he could have been higher on the list, but I respect number 50.